Hello, traders. Because of income coming to you from theclosingprint.com, October 26, 2025. In this edition of your weekend video newsletter, we'll discuss the probabilities that the markets continue higher after breaking out to new all-time highs on Friday. Accordingly, we start off the week risk on with 14 bullish indicators, 5 neutral and 1 bearish. This week we have FOMC decision, Meta, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Apple reporting earnings, heading into the Trump-Xi meeting, which could bring more volatility to the markets this week. With the New York FANG near a breakout level, MACD, RSI, stochastic all look strong, looking for a breakout. With earnings from Apple this week, looking for a breakout to new all-time highs. Meta trying to get above the 50-day moving average, along with Amazon also threatening its 50-day moving average. Google beginning a breakout on Friday. While Microsoft remains above its 50-day moving average, RSI rising, volume showing institutions have been accumulating shares, and stochastics, MACD, all cooperating and bullish. Overall, giving the New York FANG a thumbs up for the week ahead, with MACD, stochastic, and RSI all showing bullish tendencies should these stocks report good earnings. Along with the other 80 stocks that have already reported, with an 86% average beat, and 18% year-over-year gain, adding to about 8% on revenue growth so far this quarter. That leaves the S&P 500 trading at all-time highs, while the S&P equal weight tested a new high and got rejected on Friday. So if these stocks reporting this week continue, we should see the equal weight also moving higher, along with the number of stocks above the 20-day and 50-day completing a higher high. Overall, this looks very bullish for the week ahead. In addition, breadth indicators are rising, S&P 500, mid-caps, small caps, and NASDAQ all pointing upward, along with the McClellan volume oscillator for the New York Stock Exchange, 2,000 stocks, a broad measure of market participation. We have the number of new highs beating out the number of new lows by 108%. We got a green histogram bar with the 10-period moving average turning back up. New York Stock Exchange advanced decline broke a downtrend and is moving higher, while the exchange itself, 2,000 stocks, about to make a new high with green elder sticks to end the week. Finally, with VIX moving lower, this sets up a bullish risk-on start to the week ahead. With junk moving higher on the daily, gapping up on Friday, while the weekly regains its 10-period moving average. All is good for junk bonds and a risk-on environment for the equity markets this week. That said, we do need to keep an eye on the 10-year yield moving higher off the lows on Wednesday, while gold and silver pulled back early in the week. In addition, Brent crude and gasoline products did bounce, with the Russia-India tariffs issue hitting the tape midweek. We could see strength in crude oil products continue in the short term. Finally, the U.S. dollar is making higher highs and higher lows as the dollar strengthens against international currencies, with copper showing a potential higher low leading to a higher high, a leading economic indicator which could tell us that the economy will continue to chug along into the fourth quarter and end of year. Overall, bonds, currencies, and commodities are bullish for equities this week. Overall, sectors were strong. We have leading risk-on indicators like IBB and XBI moving higher, with semiconductors giving us a bullish breakout last week, along with the technology sector, hardware, software, cloud, security, all performing, while healthcare continues its bullish trend and consumer staples pulling back, the latter being defensive, with consumer discretionary rising, giving us a bullish trend continuation in the XLY-XLP consumer discretionary consumer staples ratio, looking nothing like the 2022 bear market peak or the bearish turn that we saw earlier in February, a concern to the equity markets. Overall, bonds, currencies, commodities, and sectors are bullish for the week ahead. The IBD 50 list below and stocks from scans in orange look like they could follow through this week. All things considered, we have 14 bullish indicators, 5 neutral, and 1 bearish, with earnings ahead and the Trump-Xi meeting this week, along with FOMC. Look for these to follow through, along with many others that we couldn't fit on the list as the markets break out to new highs. A&I Pharmaceuticals back above the 50-day moving average, testing the upper Bollinger Band, RSI above 50, looking for MACD to continue higher as a function of price. Pharmaceuticals have been leading as of late, along with stocks like Ep1026 bouncing off the 50-day moving average. These IBD 50 stocks setting up for follow-through. RSI rising, a bounce at the 50, MACD stochastics rising, and volume beginning to show signs of accumulation. Arista Networks and many of the stocks from the AI group appear to be ready to follow through. They're consolidating for the last few weeks, looking for a breakout above 162 to 163. RSI rising, volume increasing, MACD and stochastics turning bullish. Big write-up in IBD this weekend. CLS breaking out to new highs. 920 50-day all up and to the right. RSI rising, volume increasing, MACD and stochastics turning more bullish, with CLS reporting earnings after the close tomorrow, showing earnings growth of 45.8% and revenue growth of 21%. We'll look for this stock with exposure to the industrial, aerospace and defense, healthcare, solar, semiconductor equipment, and server storage markets. Look for Celestica to break out this week. CleanSpark pulling back to the 21-day moving average. Volume increasing over the last 6 weeks. MACD and stochastics showing a potential buy the dip setup. Should improve and continue higher. With the company recently beating expectations, it reports again in December with a 7,700% earnings growth rate with revenue growth of 90.8%. Dave breaking out above recent pivots, looking for a follow-through, with the company reporting again November 4th. Last time around they missed expectations, but they do have 40% earnings growth and 64% revenue growth. As financials continue to show improvement, look for Dave, a banking app on a mission to build products that level the financial playing field, to continue higher as well. EME, MCore Group breaking out last week with earnings on Thursday before the open. MCore last time around beat expectations. They have a 28% earnings growth and 17% revenue growth. Look for MCore in the construction group to continue higher. If you recall, copper is starting to produce higher lows and higher highs after that big dip a few months ago. Look for MCore to flag or consolidate and then follow through into earnings this week. FTAI Aviation, nice flat base, looking for a breakout. The July to September run-up could be setting up for another follow-through in the short term. FTAI reports after the bell tomorrow, beating expectations last time around with a earnings growth rate of 503% revenue growth of 52.4%. When all four metrics are green and the technical charts give you a solid foundation to trade from, these are usually good indications of a stock and company that are hell-bent on making new highs as institutions continue to accumulate shares. Look for FTAI to break out after earnings on Monday after the bell. Futu Holdings moving back above 50. A lot of people talking about Futu last week, with the company reporting again on November 24th. Still, it has good earnings growth of 109%, revenue growth of 68.8%, offering digitized brokerage and wealth management services. Futu looks like it's starting to build the right side of a pattern, with volume increasing, MACD stochastics rising, and RSI above 50 and trending. GeneDX, very similar patterns. Many of the stocks that we're looking at back above their 50-day moving average, rising back up to recent highs, with many reporting earnings this week. Last time around, GeneDX beat expectations by 257%. With earnings growth of 554%, revenue growth 45%. This company that delivers diagnostic, direct treatment, and drug discovery health insights to medical professionals and consumers looks like it could continue the strength that we've seen as it continues to populate the IBD 50 list most of this year. GeneDX looking for a break higher after its earnings on Tuesday morning. Carmen Holdings, been on the IBD 50 list for the last few months, continues the trend that it started after it broke out in September. Just check earnings. Micron following through after earnings as the company beat expectations on September 23rd, with earnings growth of 159%, revenue growth of 45%. All four metrics are green for this technology company, marketer of DRAM, NAND flash memory, and CMOS image sensors in the semiconductor industry. Micron looks like it's going to follow through. Volume over the last 8 weeks have been bullish. Looks like institutions continue to accumulate shares. MACD, stochastic, RSI, all pointing to higher prices, with Micron climbing to new highs on Friday. Okay, traders, that's going to do it for me. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com with your weekend video newsletter for October the 26th, 2025. Remember, this week we have FOMC meeting. We've got Meta, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Apple reporting earnings, along with the Trump-Xi meeting. All of these things could add additional volatility as we proceed at all-time highs. I'll send out a watch list later tonight around 12 midnight on the East Coast, around 9 o'clock on the West Coast, so be sure to check your inbox later for that, or Monday morning before the opening bell. Have a great evening, take care, and we'll see you in the morning. Ciao.